at 405.
Your boss won't listen to you. Your spouse doesn't listen to you. Your kids barely know you're alive. But here at The Fan, we love and appreciate you.
Just when we learn to appreciate what a huge wussy you are.
This is the show for the people, by the people. It's The Fan Call-In Show.
Presented by the ESPN Bet Sportsbook inside Hollywood Casino Columbus.
Here are the leaders of the Lunatic Fringe, Scotty Vegas and Ryan Baker.
It's our favorite time of the week. That's because we get to hear from you. 614-821-9710 is the number. It is the Fan Call-In Show. It is your show. Ryan Baker, Scotty Vegas here with you. And Scotty, you guys talked a little bit about it on your last segment on the Money. But that's a pretty cool topic. Who was the first Ohio State football player, and we could even go basketball player too, that you remember or you fell in love with? My first basketball player, we talked about football, Joey Galloway was my first football player that I fell in love with, but basketball, it was Dennis Hobson.
Really?
And I'm sure that's before your time,
it
obviously.
Is, yeah.
But those
you're
were
42,
my two
right?
favorites. No, you gave me a couple. I'm 44.
You're 44, okay. I'm 40. And for me, and look, there were other players that I remember watching, but as far as falling in love with, as far as hoops goes, it was Michael Redd for me. And he will always be my favorite Ohio State basketball player, Ryan. And a big reason for that, number one, is he's a Columbus kid, right? I love that he's from here. And number two, he came in and his first year, Ohio State hoops, they were 8-22 in his freshman year. And he was the only reason why you would want to watch that Ohio State basketball team was Michael Redd. And he would put up 30 points, and it was so fun to watch. And then he comes in second year, and of course, Scooney Penn joins the team, and they go from an 8-22 team, Ryan, to a Final Four. And what a turnaround that was. And I was, that was in 1998. And so I was 14 at that point. I remember watching other guys before that. I remember watching a little bit of Jim Jackson and the Ohio State basketball in the 90s. Not a lot of great memories from especially the mid 90s.
Yeah.
But, for me, it was Michael Redd basketball. And the reason we bring this topic up is because Eddie George is now the head coach at Bowling Green. And for me, as a kid, and I was 10 years old at this point, was watching Eddie George. He was the first football player that I really fell in love with as a kid. And I've got a Eddie George autographed jersey in my basement. He will always be my favorite OSU football player because he's who I remember watching first and falling in love with. Now, my kid, he's 8 years old, Spencer. He has fallen in love with, of course. Jeremiah Smith.
That's a good one to fall in love with.
That's a great one to fall in love with. So we want to hear from you, 614-821-9710, 614-821-9710. And Ryan, we got prizes to give out today.
Oh, baby. We've got a $50 Visa gift card. And as always, thanks to our friends, the ESPN Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino, we've got some dining credits to the Sportsbook over there. So 614-821-9710. It's funny you mentioned Michael Redd, Scotty, because I was just having a discussion in the office the other day with one of our producers, Cole. Cole is much younger than us, but he got to go over to the fairgrounds the other night. He's a graduate of Dublin Kaufman. They were playing Reynoldsburg, a big matchup, and of course the boys basketball tournament back at the fairgrounds this season for the first time in a long time. And we were talking about some high school hoops, and I remember 1997, Scotty. What a time for high school hoops in Columbus, because not only did you have Michael Redd,
Kenny Gregory,
West,
right?
But you had Kenny Gregory at Independence. And if you remember, Doug Davis played for Westland. And those guys, obviously, Ohio State, Kansas, Michigan State, had great college basketball careers. And you could go to the fairgrounds and watch those guys play against each other or back-to-back or whatever. I had some friends that were in the same grade They were seniors the same year as Doug Davis, so we all went and watched Westland play at the fairgrounds, and it was just too cool seeing all those guys. Also, Esteban Weaver was young then. It was like a heyday for college or high school basketball in Columbus that year.
Yeah, and you're right. It's extra special when you can watch him play in high school before you even see him at Ohio State. And that was the case for me watching Jared Sullinger also. I went to a couple of his high school games, watched him and Trey Burke play together. And I think that's extra special when you can go and watch them before they become kind of household names to everybody. And I know they were a big deal already in high school, but the fact that you got to see them before they actually got to be stars at such a high level in college.
It's one of the cool things about some of the stuff I do, getting to go to these state tournaments and paying attention to high school football especially, is seeing these guys before they go to their colleges. So seeing I remember one time in the football tournament seeing Jaden Ballard go up against Angelo Gross, who went on to play safety and cornerback at Michigan State, and just watching those two, seeing the Wesson brothers on the court, playing basketball at the shot. Very cool things that you get to see. 614-821-9710. That is the number. We'll talk about whatever you want. Maybe you want to talk Buckeye basketball, Wolf. Maybe you want to talk about the Cavs. They're hot. The Blue Jackets, whatever it is. 614-821-9710. And remember, when we put you on the air, we'll ask you what school you're representing. We'll play a little sounder for you, and then you can get on with what you want to talk about. Phil, you're going to be our first caller this morning on the Fan Call-In Show, and actually Phil just fell off the line, so let's go to Tom. Tom, good morning.
Good morning.
What school are you representing today, Tom?
I'm representing the Golden Gales of Lancaster, Ohio.
All right.
60% of the time, it works every time.
What do you got for us, Tom?
I'm going to show my age, but the first football player I fell in love with for the Ohio State Buckeyes was Jack Tatum.
Ooh.
And basketball, it would be, as Jimmy Crum called him, the Cougar, Jim Clemens.
Jim
Fantastic
Clemens.
Players.
Yeah, and Jim Clemens had a great career in the NBA and then went on to be a pretty successful head coach as well.
Absolutely.
Tom, thank you so much for the call, Tom. We appreciate you calling in this morning. It looks like we got Phil back, so let's head out to Phil. Phil, good morning. You're on the Fan Call-In Show.
Hey, good morning, guys. How's it going? Go Bucks.
We're doing good. How are you this morning?
I am doing great. Heading out to the New England area for some work this week, so had your show on and figured I'd give you a call.
And make sure you bring us some lobster back with you, okay?
I hadn't thought of that, but that is that's a great point. So, I'm a huge Buckeyes fan. Cavs, how about those Cavs? Been following the Cavs closely. Can't wait for them to watch them make their run.
Yeah, they've been hot, those 3 double-digit win streaks. Only the 7th team in NBA history to do that. First time in Cavs franchise history in one season, Phil.
And had to put some juice on the game tonight before I got across the state line. And I had to take Donovan Mitchell going 30 points or better just because of the not bad game, but subpar performance he had the other night. I figure he's going to go off against Milwaukee. So that's my first thing. And then you guys were talking about first Buckeyes player that I remembered. I was born in 1978, and my first Buckeye player I remember is Chris Spielman. He was a big fan of my dad's and myself. I started out playing middle linebacker my early years in high school. And just like Chris Spielman, my dad always told me, Chris Spielman wasn't very fast or very big, but he still pulled it off. So that was my motivation. It never worked. But Chris Spielman was big in our house growing up.
We thank you for the call, Phil. I thought he was going to say that his dad told him, there's no way you're going to Michigan. Lex Spiel's dad told him.
Yeah. It's funny, too, because we always, that first player that you really remember and fall in love with, it's just something that stays with you forever. And it's always something where, like, it brings back a memory of, like, a specific play or game. And for me, of course, Eddie George being hired as the Bowling Green head coach, for me, the thing that sticks in my mind with Eddie George is still that game where he ran for, I think it was 314 yards against Illinois in the rain. And I still remember that when I was a kid, and I would set up my couch cushions around the living room, and they would be like tackling dummies for me, and I would dive into them pretending that I was Eddie George. And it's just it's really cool that when you get older, you still remember the specific memories of some of those players that you fell in love with as a kid.
The thing about Joey Galloway, the one, and I wish I could remember the game, but he caught a touchdown pass, and it's been in the highlights over the years, and it was so iconic. But he's running into the end zone, and there's a cameraman in the end zone that's like on the ground. So he looks larger than life, and he looks up as he runs into the end zone, and Joey Galloway just kind of drops the ball and stands over the camera, and that image is always in my head. I just loved how fast Joey Galloway was and how good he was wearing that number 7 for the Buckeyes.
All right, remember, you can give us a call. We have gift cards to give out. It's 614-821-9710, 614-821-9710. We got a Visa gift card to some of the top calls on the day. We've already heard from a couple guys. Let's hear from Randy next. Randy, welcome to the Fan Call-In Show.
Hey, thanks, guys. Shout out from Briggs High School, West Side.
I want my painting back.
The painting was a gift, Todd. I'm taking it with me.
Go ahead, Randy.
Hey, just a thought. Do you think the Browns have any chance of using maybe Myles Garrett as a trade and move up or move down maybe in the draft to maybe take a look at Will Howard as quarterback?
Thanks for the call, Randy. I don't think they need to use Myles to help them get Will. I mean, if they want Will, they can probably just go ahead and draft him at the top of the second round. I do think, though, that they should trade Myles, and I think hopefully they can use whatever they get back from him, because I guess it would be probably a first-round pick and maybe a player or a middle-round pick. They can use that to and help improve this team, but man, Scotty, I feel like the Browns need a lot. And I feel like, as a Buckeye fan, I don't know if I wish that upon Will Howard.
That's kind of where I am as well. Like, we want Will Howard to go into a situation where he can succeed. Going to the Browns, not exactly how I would draw it up for Will going forward.
Yeah, I don't think I wish the Browns on anyone. 614-821-9710. That is the number to call. We have a couple lines open for you. JB, Josh, Smith Coltrane, hang on the line. We'll get to you next. It's the Fan Call-In Show.
Unlike your deadbeat uncle, we'll never leave you stranded in a ditch when you were 6. This promo may have been a touch too specific. The Fan.
Roll Up to Win is back at Tim Hortons. We're rolling out great prizes like a 2025 Ford Bronco, $500 daily jackpots, Xboxes, and more. You can earn rolls with your purchase of an eligible hot or cold beverage and favorite breakfast item. A whole new way to earn rolls this year. Visit your neighborhood Tim's and download the app for great food and more opportunities to roll up to win. No purchase necessary. Tim Hortons app required. See rules on app for details. Entered by 3/23/25. Sponsored by Tim Hortons.
Looking to sell your home? Don't pay 6% commission. Call my guys at Sell for 1% Realtors. They're full service, not a do-it-yourself kind of thing. On average, customers save over $10,000. Give them a call, 614-451-6616. That's 451-6616.
Welcome to Nada Yada Island.
Next on Metro's Nada Yada Island podcast.
I almost fainted when the 4 new bombshells arrived. 4 free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G phones at Metro.
No way.
And finding out the 4th line is free. Oh, things got heated.
That's wild. Join Metro and get 4 free Samsung 5G phones. Only at Metro.
Plus tax. Bring 4 numbers and an ID and sign up for any Metro Flex plan. Not available currently at T-Mobile or been with Metro in the past 180 days.
Basketball from noon to midnight. Scotty Vegas here, and we're throwing a Vegas-style basketball party at Hollywood Casino at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook. I even went out to Vegas to scout out how to throw this party. Tough assignment. The Fan is doing 24 hours of watch parties. The opening weekend of the tournament, there'll be custom T-shirts, Pop-A-Shot, horse games. Oh, and don't miss a game with a 50-foot video wall. Reserve your spot at HollywoodColumbus.com. Must be 21 or older to enter. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
1-800-GOT-JUNK makes space for possibilities.
When our clean, shiny truck arrives, it's the sign of a new beginning, a clean start, a breath of fresh air.
All the animals start giggling, a rainbow appears, and music fills the air.
Your best friend calls with happy news. Every table has fresh flowers on it, and your nights are full of candlelight.
We bring the springtime.
All you have to do is point.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK
or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
Hey there, friends. Bo Bishop here from my friends at High Bank Distillery Co., located right here in Columbus. Introducing their newest product, 614 Vodka, Ohio's house vodka. Perfect to make a drink at home or try when you're out at your favorite local restaurant. Learn more at 614vodka.com.
The Reds are on the radio.
Long fly ball, deep left center field, way back. It is gone. This could be an inside the park home run. Ellie De La Cruz is on. He leaps and he caught it. 20 home runs on the year for Spencer Steer.
What will Terry Francona's 2025 Reds look like? Find out for yourself. Cactus League play is underway. Hear all the action on your home of the Reds.
After an audit of our programming, the suits here at the Fan decided we needed more baseball. And that common man is stupid. Good news. We fixed one of those problems. Catch the Reds on the Fan all season long. Yay, baseball. Get Eco.
Hey, Aaron. Hey, Jerry. You know, as much as I enjoy being a professional inventor, a few of my dream inventions still elude me.
Oh, yeah? Like what?
Well, the bruiseless avocado.
Ooh.
The unlosable TV remote.
Could change the world.
And for you, Aaron, the uncloggable drain.
Get Eco.
Until you crack it, Jerry. You know our 93 are free drain clearing offer is the next best thing.
Okay. Explain yourself.
Get Eco.
Our drain team will clear your drain for just $93. If we can't clear it, it's free. And we guarantee it'll stay clear for at least a year, or we will clear it again for free.
Get Eco.
We'll even send our little robot camera down there to make sure you don't have a larger problem that could cause more trouble in the future.
Get Eco.
You think your guys could bring that robot over to my place and help me find that TV remote?
I think that's impossible even for us.
Get Eco.
Eco, plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians.
GetEco.com.
Ready to be the change and have a positive impact on your community? Consider joining the Columbus Division of Police. Starting pay is $70,000 plus, growing to 6 figures after 4 years of service. We offer paid vacations, paid holidays, and health insurance. Do you aspire to complete your degree? We offer 100% tuition reimbursement after you complete your first year of service. Contact the CPD recruiting unit at jobs@columbuspolice.org or apply online at columbus.gov/government/jobs. The City of Columbus is an equal opportunity employer.
It's child's play to donate your car, truck, RV, or boat to Ronald McDonald House Charities of Central Ohio. They'll pick it up free of charge, steer you through the paperwork, and a hefty tax deduction rolls your way as you help provide a home away from home for families of seriously ill hospitalized children. For more information about donating your vehicle to Ronald McDonald House Charities, visit rmhc-centralohio.org or call 614-CARS-HELP. That's 614-CARS-HELP.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
It's going to be quite the nippy start to the day with our temperatures into the low 30s to upper 20s, but we warm up pretty quickly going into the day with plenty of sunshine in the forecast and our afternoon highs in the mid to upper 50s. For tonight, clear skies overnight allows those lows to get down right around 32 degrees, but we have a beautiful start to the work week as our afternoon highs get into the mid to low 60s with plenty of sunshine, and we only go up from there. Tuesday could be close to 70 degrees. For the Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfalo with your 10 weather impact forecast.
If you haven't thought about Buckeye football today, I'm sorry to tell you that you're dead. Our condolences. Your home of the Buckeyes, the Fan. The Fan Call-In Show, presented by ESPN Bet at Hollywood Casino Columbus. The show that allows you, the sports fan, to be the star.
Yes, it does. Whatever you want to talk about, it is your show. 614-821-9710. Plenty of lines open to you. Plenty of lines full right now as well. So let's go right back to them. Let's head out to Josh. Josh, you have been holding the longest. Welcome to the Fan Call-In Show. What school are you representing?
I'm representing the University of Dayton and the Ohio State University. Go Bucks.
All right.
Goodness, a kiss to be remembered potentially.
What do you got for us, Josh?
So I got to say that you guys really set the bar and covered a lot of the points right out the gate when it comes to favorite players all time, nostalgia. That's probably, in my opinion, the most impossible Ohio State question to answer. My starting point, the first player I ever met, my first game, Chico Nelson. He was walking into the stadium, surrounded by a bunch of cheerleaders, gave me a smile, gave me a high five, made my day, and he was phenomenal. Eddie George, the second game I went to was when he broke the all-time rushing records, which was phenomenal. Troy Smith, my younger brother, was actually the equipment manager on the team that year, and just got to know a lot of the players through him, through stories, not personally. Archie, my older brother, actually won a raffle and was able to fly him from Columbus to Toledo to go to a speaker event and spent a bunch of time with that. So a lot of connections. But I will have to say, if I got to pick one all time, believe it or not, Maurice Claret, because in my opinion, he made the greatest football play of all time in the national championship game when he stripped that ball back after the interception.
Yeah, we appreciate the call, Josh. Thanks for sharing all those memories. Again, we're kind of going down memory lane here because Eddie George, now the head coach at Bowling Green. I kind of mentioned how when I was 10 years old, when I first started really getting into Ohio State football, he was my first player that I really fell in love with watching. And we kind of expanded it, also talked about our favorite basketball player. I mentioned Michael Redd. For me, it's funny, during the break, we were starting to talk about players that we also hated the most, the first player that we really didn't like. And for me, I brought up Desmond Howard. He's the guy who, for me, first memories of a player on an opposing team that I really didn't like. What about you, Ryan, as far as players that you hated as a kid?
That's a good one because I'd really have to think about it. The first one that kind of popped into my head, though, and it's on the basketball side of things, Glenn Robinson.
Really?
Because he was so good for that Purdue team.
Yeah.
And
I think they won 3 straight Big Ten titles.
But then I think about that, you got like Glenn Rice, too, and Ramil Robinson on those Michigan teams.
Yeah.
Calbert Chaney from Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
Damon Bailey, everybody, if you weren't an Indiana fan, hated him. So those are all good ones there. Chico Nelson, do you even remember Chico?
I do not.
Man, he was a hard-hitting safety. Number 13, I believe. He would lay the wood on you. JB, you're up next on the Fan Call-In Show. Good morning, JB.
Hey, I'm representing the Westland Cougars. Just wanted to give a shout out.
I like the way you're put together.
I like Jimmy Jackson was my
so good
favorite player of all time, and then I'd go with Andy Katzenmoyer. Man, he was a great player.
That's a good one.
Leave it at that.
JB, you said
I love your picks, man.
JB, you said you're representing Westland. We were talking about high school hoops. Do you remember Doug Davis?
Oh, yes, sir, man. I played against him in an alumni tournament. He was awesome.
Yeah, he was a good one.
He was.
Thanks.
Hey, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. I'm getting a car wash. So I'm not...
You're good. Thanks for the call, GB. Has to get all that dust from Texas or Oklahoma or wherever that rainstorm brought in that's all over our cars. Jimmy Jackson.
Yeah.
You know, that's not my first love, the first Ohio State player that I fell in love with, but he's my favorite Ohio State player of all time, any sport. Football, basketball, whatever. Jimmy Jackson's number one for me.
Yeah, and for me, and I was born in 84, so that was a little bit before my time. I remember watching a little bit of those Ohio State hoops teams. I remember that game against Indiana, the double overtime game, and seeing highlights of that.
So good.
A little before my time, but yeah, Jimmy Jackson, great answer too. And as far as OSU hoops goes, you think about like that Chris Gent, Jim Jackson. That was kind of an era that I think a lot of people will remember. And then you had a little bit of a break there. Those mid-90s were bad. And then you got to the Scooney Penn, Michael Redd teams.
Smith Coltrane, one of our favorite callers every week. You're up next on the Fan Call-In Show. Good morning, Smith. Smith Coltrane, can you hear us? All right, let's put him on hold. We lost Smith there for a minute. Let's go to line 3. Let's go to Paul. Good morning, Paul. You're on the Fan Call-In Show.
Hey, good morning, Scotty. How you guys doing this morning?
We're doing good. What school are you representing?
Westerville South High School, class of 82.
Oh, awesome, baby, with a top of the leg.
Hey, I want to talk about Buckeye hoops. I don't know what it is with this year's team and teams in the past, but, not being able to hold on to a lead, and everything. It's disappointing. Yesterday, twice they had 11, 12-point leads, couldn't hang on to them, got outscored in the final, what was it yesterday, 5 minutes of the game, 20-something to 6. It's really disappointing. And, I'm wondering myself if Diebler's the coach. I know it's his first full year. But, I wonder if they just need to get somebody in there, big time that can, really get these players going in the right direction.
Paul, I appreciate the call. You're absolutely right. It feels like no lead is safe with this Ohio State basketball team. And unfortunately, it's been so many instances this year where they've had leads late and they've blown it, right? And I never felt comfortable. I never felt comfortable at all yesterday, despite the fact they were up 10. I think they were up 5 with about 4 minutes to go. I always kept thinking, oh my gosh, are they going to be able to hold on to this? Because look, they blew so many games this season where they had significant leads. They blew the Pitt game. They blew the Oregon game. They blew Indiana the last time when Indiana was a home game. They blew that game. So no lead has been safe with this team, and it's been extremely frustrating. And to be honest with you, this has kind of been the trend over a few years now, where no lead is ever safe with this Ohio State basketball team.
And I think that's the thing, right? It's not just this year. It's kind of been a track record of the last couple years. Maybe that's just because you haven't had that dude, on these teams. And Bruce is a good player, but there's obviously a really good player, but there's some limitations. He's a good college basketball player. Like you guys were kind of talking before, there's no way he's leaving early to go pro. I mean, he's not that kind of player. I don't think he has a pro career in his future unless he goes overseas. But he's I think I mentioned Brian Brown last week. He kind of reminds me of a Brian Brown, a guy that was solid basketball player all 4 years, but that was kind of his ceiling, was playing basketball at Ohio State. We mentioned Deebs. Listen, you're going to get some growing pains. We talked about this. When you hire a first-time coach, we've talked about it with Ryan Day. He had never been a head coach before at any level. You're going to get those growing pains, and we've gotten those growing pains through his tenure. You're going to get this with Diebler.
Well, one other thing, too, and we forget about this, Ohio State had big leads in the USC game last week, almost blew that game, and then earlier in the week had a significant lead, basically led the entire game against Nebraska, and they got very fortunate because Nebraska had a 90% free throw shooter who missed a free throw. The game went into overtime, and Ohio State found a way. It was a good, gutty win that Ohio State got it over Nebraska, but they led that game the entire way and blew a lead in that one as well.
I mean, it's with those things that are going to haunt them. And we talked about it earlier in the year, the Pitt game, the Oregon game, things like that. We're going to come back to haunt them. I guess we got Smith Coltrane back. Smith, hang on the line. Buddy, Mike, we'll get to you in 2 minutes on the Fan Call-In Show.
It's been a great run. Care Heating and Cooling has achieved goals I could only imagine 30 years ago. But now it's time for the next generation to take over. This is Mike Weens, now the retired founder of Care Heating and Cooling with my sons, Dennis and Ryan.
Dad, I remember you saying that a family business should reflect family values, that a customer deserves to be treated with kindness and compassion.
And those values will never change. The reputation you built for being fair and honest is our greatest asset.
In fact, in 2024, Care was awarded a BBB Torch Award for ethics and named the Lennox Partner of the Year.
You don't earn those awards by leaving cat toys behind. It's an honor to continue serving Central Ohio as a locally owned, family-run business.
So, whether you need a tune-up, repair, or just honest advice, Care is here for you.
Call Care Heating and Cooling at 1-800-COOLING or schedule an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com. When you need a company you can trust.
Hey friends, Beamer here, and all right, somebody cue up the wedding bells because I just hit my wedding weight. Down 56 pounds with the Waken 180, and I officially weigh the same as the day I said I do. What's even crazier was how fast I took off what probably took me 6-7 years to put on. Only 3 months in, and I've made a complete 180. We cracked open the wedding album to compare, and yes, I'm looking the same that I did 7 years ago. Although be it a few more gray hairs with a 2-year-old running around, that tends to happen. I'm not done, though. Once you learn how easy losing weight can actually be with Awaken 180, your goals, they start to get bigger. Wedding weight, yeah, I hit that. But why not see what it feels like, what it looks like to be at my ideal weight? All goals start shifting. Who knows? Maybe I'll start hitting some 5Ks, playing tennis, being more active. Probably not going to hit 5Ks, but hey, you never know what's going to happen. What does your life look like down 30 pounds, 50 pounds, or even more? To find out, do what we did and make your own 180 at awaken180weightloss.com.
We test marketed naming the show A Guy and His Butlers.
Oh, that is very touching.
But we thought Bishop and Friends had a better ring to it.
Weekday mornings at 9.
The Fan. Back to the show of the fans, by the fans, and for these crazy fans. The Fan Call-In Show, presented by ESPN Bet at Hollywood Casino Columbus.
I'm convinced that we need a podcast of just all the conversations that happen here during the break, because a lot of times I feel like those are actually better than the show. We just had some great conversation about some former Ohio State basketball players and ones that may not have lived up to our expectations that frustrated us, and just good stuff.
Well, let's share that, right? Again, Eddie George named head coach at Bowling Green. So we were talking about players in our childhood that we absolutely fell in love with, and then it kind of got to players that really frustrated us as Ohio State fans, and we kind of went the Ohio State basketball route. And we were kind of talking about some of the guys that may have been really overhyped coming in here, mentioning Mark Loving during the break.
Amir Williams
was another guy. Shannon Scott was another guy, really highly rated, never really panned out. And for me, the frustration part with Shannon Scott was he was kind of taken over instead of Trey Burke. And we know what Trey Burke ended up doing.
Which at the time was good. In hindsight, though, you're like, well, these two weren't the same. But we talked about Mark Loving, and I said part of that wasn't his fault. He was Mr. Basketball in Ohio, so you had these expectations, and it just was never there. And I mentioned Colin White, who some people have a lot of high expectations for him because he was Mr. Basketball in Ohio. I don't know if Colin White was ever the best basketball player last year in the state of Ohio in the high school ranks, but he got that, so you expect things. I said I thought he would be like a Matt Sylvester, and you said you hope. And I was like, I think we just remember, and I love Matt personally.
Yeah.
I think we remember Matt Sylvester as being a little better than maybe he was because he had some huge big shot moments.
Yes, very well said. Obviously, the big shot against Illinois. He also had the game winner against LSU during a regular season game. So we remember Matt Sylvester for those big moments. But yeah, we're talking about players that we fall in love with as a kid. So you can share that. Our phone lines are open. We still have a Visa gift card to give out, a $50 Visa gift card. The phone line, 614-821-9710. But you can talk anything you want. It doesn't have to be your favorite player growing up. But those phone lines are open, and we're going to go back out to them.
Real quick, before we do, Seneca on the YouTube chat chimes in. Tebow and Chris Leak hated those dudes. And Troy Smith, #1 Buckeye of all time. I think we got Smith Coltrane back, so let's go back out to him. Smith, good morning. Thanks for calling in on the Fan Call-In Show.
What's going on, fellas? I think I was muted earlier.
I don't know who would have done that to you. We'll have to get our best men on that.
I think I muted myself. So I'm representing Beechcroft High School. Born in 1981, man. Y'all should get me on the show permanent, man. Y'all making me feel a little bit better about that loss. Talking about greatest Buckeyes and Buckeyes we remember. I remember Greg Fry.
Great dude.
First guy, Greg Fry. He was the first guy I remember. And do you guys remember Robert Smith quitting the football team?
Yeah.
Okay, that was one of the first things I remember. I got his autograph that year. Do you remember Joey Galloway getting players banned from taking their helmets off in the end zone from scoring so much, and he would take his helmet off in the end zone?
I do vaguely remember that. I mentioned Joey was the first football player that I fell in love with. And, yeah, right. I do. Maybe that's what it was on that iconic shot is he took his helmet off in front of the camera. And
So real fast with the basketball, I heard you talking about the Thad Matta with the Shannon Scott and Amir Williams. I think that was the start of the demise of Thad Matta because he didn't know how to play Shannon Scott and Aaron Craft together, and he never played Amir Williams at all his freshman year. He was giving Sellinger and Craft 40 minutes a game their sophomore years. But here's a recruiting class I want to see if you guys remember, and I'll let you go. I do remember Chico Nelson. See if you guys remember this recruiting class. It was the 1992 basketball recruiting class. You had Greg Simpson, Mr. Ohio. You had Derek Anderson. You had Charles Killer Macon. Yeah. You had Gerald Aker. And then you had Nate Wilborn from Upper Arlington. They were the number one recruited class in the country. They went up against the Fab Five sophomore team. I was at that game. And I was also at the game that year they played North Carolina in the preseason, and those two ended up playing in the national championship. I'll let you guys go and tell me what you think about that recruiting class. I do remember that recruiting class, and I mean, that was big time. Derek Anderson was a huge recruit, ended up transferring to Kentucky and finishing his career at Kentucky. Greg Simpson, I believe it's his son, is Xavier Simpson, who played at Michigan just a couple years ago. Greg Simpson was pretty little dude, but was pretty nasty and played with an edge on the court, just like Xavier. I believe Macon and Gerald Aker, I believe they might have been involved in some of the stuff that led to the demise of the Ohio State basketball program in the Randy Ayers tenure.
You're absolutely right, and I do remember that class, and I specifically remember, obviously, Derek Anderson came in, transferred to Kentucky, and I'm pretty sure he won a national championship and played very well at Kentucky. So it was a big-time class, had some off-the-court issues, and was kind of the end of Randy Ayers as far as, like, the talent at Ohio State hoops just kind of went off the rails.
I do believe he did. It was that 96 Kentucky team, I think. That they
Sounds
won in
right.
96 and 98. I think they went 96, then missed a year, and then 98 or something like that. Or maybe in 98 they lost to Arizona, and Ron Mercer was on that team. And I don't know if Derek Anderson and Ron Mercer ever crossed paths on those Kentucky teams. But, a bunch of what-ifs over the years. Let's head back out to the phone lines. Let's head to Buddy. Buddy, good morning. What school are you representing?
Hey, good morning, guys. Representing Archbishop Alter Knights.
I'm in a glass case of emotion.
I had Jeff Graham and Brian Donaher were in my theology class.
Wow.
Which is, crazy.
Jeff Graham, a heck of a receiver.
There you go. Earliest childhood player memory would be Cornelius Green for me. And I was a number 7 jersey kid at an early age. And Corny Green, of course, played with Archie. Everyone loves Archie. Corny was my guy. Even for confirmation, I chose Cornelius as my confirmation name.
That's terrific, buddy. Hey, buddy, we're going to hook you up with a gift card. We appreciate the call, taking us down memory lane a little bit there. Cam's going to get your information. We're going to get you a $50 Visa gift card. Again, phone lines are open, 614-821-9710. We're kind of going over some of our memories of the first Buckeyes that we remember watching and falling in love with as a kid. And the big news this morning, of course, is that Eddie George is now the head football coach at Bowling Green. Ryan, really, really cool.
It's an awesome thing, and I hope Eddie goes up there. He's done really good at Tennessee State. I hope he goes up there and has some success with Bowling Green. And, hey, let's look into the future a little bit, right? One day, if Ryan Day, and he's here for a long time, one day Ryan Day decides to move on. If Eddie George goes to Bowling Green and has some success, his name will be thrown in the hat as the next head coach at Ohio State if he does a good job up there.
Not only that, but there were some rumblings, right, of Eddie George as far as interviewing with some NFL teams this offseason.
Maybe the running back coach even at Ohio State last year when it opened up.
Sure thing. And then the other thing that I want to start looking at, and I haven't done this yet, but I'd like to see as far as Ohio State's future schedules. Is Bowling Green kind of on the radar for Ohio State, and will Eddie George be coaching in the shoe as the head coach of Bowling Green?
That'll be fun. When we go to break, we will try to look that up. But before we go to break, let's head back out to the phone lines. Let's go to Mike. Good morning, Mike. You're on the Fan Call-In Show.
Hey, how you guys doing today?
Doing good. What school are you representing?
I'm representing Westland High School as well.
You shut your mouth when you're talking to me.
What do you got for us, Mike?
Yeah, so you mentioned Doug Davis. I was actually a freshman. Doug Davis' senior year, he graduated with my brother, and I remember Doug walking around in all of his Michigan State gear. He was the first recruiting class for Tom Izzo when he was recruited to go there, and I remember going to the state championship game that year and watching him and our Westland Cougars play Westerville North and Sean Stonerick, and I remember that back and forth game we had with them my freshman year of high school.
Man, Sean Stonerick, that's a name from the past to remember. That Westland team, so good with Josh Peelier and Kyle Kincaid and Chad Reber. Those guys growing up in Grove City and being a couple years younger than them. Obviously, remember those guys playing well, having some friends at Westland. Doug Davis went to Michigan State, had a pretty good career. Talking about that, Michael Redd, Kenny Gregory, all that same class. It was so fun watching high school hoops back then.
You know, it's funny, too, Ryan, is thinking back to a lot of the Columbus kids that have gone on to other schools and have done big things. You don't think of it as much recently, right? Like it's been a little bit of time. It used to, as an OSU hoops fanatic, right? I'm crazy about OSU hoops. Nothing was more painful when you would have an Ohio kid or specifically a Columbus kid that would go and be a star somewhere else, right? I'm thinking back to like Nigel Hayes at Wisconsin and how they went and they went all the way to a national championship game. And then, of course, everybody's thinking about Trey Burke. And Ohio State didn't recruit Trey Burke. And so he was originally committed to Penn State. And then he ended up going to Michigan and ended up being a terrific college basketball player.
You know, the one that I hate more than anyone, and it was recently, was Karis LeVert. Because I got to watch him play at Pickerington Central, and I hated seeing him play so well.
And Cam brought up Luke Kennard, who was another recruit that obviously an Ohio kid that you're all excited about and goes somewhere else. I haven't had that in the last few years. I feel like Ohio high school basketball has not produced like the stars over the last 4 or 5 years. But, man, nothing more painful than when one of those Ohio kids would go be a star somewhere else.
Well, Darren Peterson going to Kansas. That one sucked a little bit this year. And there's a kid, I think TJ McCullough, I believe is his name, played for Richmond Heights, which Dorian Jones, who's coming to Ohio State next year, played with him, and TJ Crumble, who is a big-time recruit in next year's class. TJ McCullough, a 6'10", good-sized kid, pretty athletic. Got to watch him play in the state tournament last year. He went to Izzo and Michigan State, and I don't like that one in the coming years, but we'll have to see that. One more segment of the Fan Call-In Show to go. Troy, Joe, Ralph, Marcus, hang on the line. We will get to you next. It's the Fan Call-In Show, 97.1 The Fan.
We're the highest rated sports radio station in America. There's no joke there. We just are. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Roll Up to Win is back at Tim Hortons. We're rolling out great prizes like a 2025 Ford Bronco, $500 daily jackpots, Xboxes, and more. You can earn rolls with your purchase of an eligible hot or cold beverage and favorite breakfast item. A whole new way to earn rolls this year. Visit your neighborhood Tim's and download the app for great food and more opportunities to roll up to win. No purchase necessary. Tim Hortons app required. See rules on app for details. Entered by 3/23/25. Sponsored by Tim Hortons.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter, and spring's going to be here before you know it. I know it feels cold now, but before too long, you're going to be outside running around, jogging, wanting to do golf, explore time with your family. Get outside and do the things you love. Just be active. And listen, a lot of my friends, they're asking me about QC Kinetics joint treatments. They want to know if they should consider it for their joint pain. And if you're wondering, maybe you could be a good candidate, let's see if the answer is yes to any of these questions. Quality of life impacted by chronic pain, knees, hips, back, shoulders, other things. Trouble sleeping, walking, day-to-day movement? Check. Next, avoiding surgery, the pain, the downtime? Check. Most importantly, do you miss doing the things I talked about when the spring and summer are here? Check. Don't wait. If you answered yes to one or any of those, you'd be a great candidate. You can go in there, go to QC Kinetics, ask for their free consultation, find out what it's all about, learn about the latest advances in regenerative medicine. They've got locations in Dublin and Gehenna, or you can go to qckinetics.com/Columbus, or better yet, call 380-208-4544.
Are you turning 65? Are you looking for Medicare Advantage coverage? Great news! The Ohio State Health Systems and Mount Carmel Health Systems are in our provider network. Aetna has Medicare Advantage plans that include prescription drug coverage with a $0 monthly plan premium. Plus, the plans include benefits like dental, vision, and hearing. Call Aetna today at 1-888-76-AETNA to learn more. One of our licensed agents will answer your call. Call today, 1-888-76-AETNA. Aetna Medicare is an HMO PPO plan with a Medicare contract. Our D-SNPs also have contracts with state Medicaid programs. Enrollment in our plans depends on contract renewal. Plan features and availability may vary by service area. Participating healthcare providers are independent contractors and are neither agents nor employees of Aetna. The availability of any particular provider cannot be guaranteed, and provider network composition is subject to change. Other physicians, providers are available in our network.
Common Man here for Worthington Jewelers. I was the voice of another company for a long time, and then my good friend Bob Capace changed my mind about the jewelry experience. 25 years of local, 25 years of relationships. Experience the difference for yourself just like I did. The spring bridal sale is going on right now. You buy one, you get one 50% off. The best prices of the year on natural and lab-grown diamonds. Worthington Jewelers on High Street in Worthington, worthingtonjewelers.com.
The Morning Juice team reminds you that the football offseason is a myth. And if you don't listen, we'll take you down.
Sponsored by Prime Sports. Download the Prime Sports Ohio app today.
Weekday mornings at 6 on The Fan.
If you're like most Americans, you've racked up tens of thousands in credit card debt. You're stuck with 20% interest fees, and even the monthly payments, well, they're hard to make. It's insane. Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. The good news is that there is a way out. AFLcash.com. That's AFLcash.com. Advantage First Lending. They specialize in fast, easy access to the equity in your home. Most homeowners have hundreds of thousands of dollars in their home equity. That's your money. AFLcash.com can get it out for you with zero junk fees and zero hassle. You can pay off all those credit cards in just a matter of days. Pay off your car loans too. Cut your monthly expenses by $800 or even $900. I'm telling you, the relief you need, well, it's right there at your fingertips. AFLcash.com or call 844-394-CASH. That's 844-394-CASH. Break out of the credit card debt prison with AFLcash.com.
Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1209177. Subject to lender approval. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Common Man here for Universal Windows Direct. You know what's better than new windows? A new window from Universal Windows Direct that's on sale. It's the tax time sale. You save big while making your home comfortable and energy efficient. You buy 2 windows, you get 2 free. Plus, you pay no interest till 2030. Plus, you get an extra $500 off your home improvement project in March only. Schedule your free home estimate today, 614-502-5220, universalwindowsdirect.com. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
The Fan Poll is brought to you by Caster Connection. Visit CasterConnection.com to shop online or to work with our Caster Solution Specialists.
Ever want to be a radio star?
It's all about the radio.
Or at least hear your voice on the air?
The radio's all yours now.
This is the show for you. This is the Fan Call-In Show, presented by ESPN Bet at Hollywood Casino Columbus.
We love taking your calls, and you guys have filled up the phone lines, so we'll go quickly here. Let's head back out to the phone lines. And Troy, good morning, Troy. You're on the Fan Call-In Show. Hello, Troy.
Home county, Crawford County, and the regional champion, Colonel Crawford Eagles. So just a couple guys. You brought one up, but it's a southpaw. Good old Chris Gent back in the day was a player, had to hustle. Sometimes I think we miss some of that. And going to go a little hockey on you. Bam Bam Cam Atkinson. Guy definitely shoots above his weight, and another player that will go down, I think, in Blue Jacket history. So thanks, guys, and have a good Sunday.
Troy, I love both of those, Chris Gent and Cam Atkinson, 2 of my favorites of all time. I love my NBA Jam shirt, or OSU Jam shirt with Jimmy Jackson and Chris Gent.
Oh, so good. Yeah, and I remember Chris Gent as well. He had a little bit of a pro career. And I think he played like Columbus Horizon, if I'm remembering that correctly. Absolutely. And I remember going to one of those games, getting a high five from Chris Gent. It's funny the memories that come up from when you're a kid, like a high five from a player.
Yeah, means everything.
Yes, it means so much. And that's one I got from Chris Gent. And I remember telling my parents at the time, I said, I'm not washing my hand ever again after getting the high five from Chris Gent.
And you still haven't, all these years later. Joe, good morning, Joe. You're next on the Fan Call-In Show.
Hey, 2001, Grove City High School.
There we go.
I live in a van down by the river.
What do you got for us, Joe?
I live in a trailer. No, I was just wondering, what do you think of Grove City High School football going forward? Like, they kind of went on a run and flamed out, I thought. But
Joe, it seems like, thank you for the call. I love my Greyhounds. I think they've got a good shot this year. Carson is a good quarterback. They'll need to find a running back this season, but hopefully the Dogs can have another run into the playoffs, maybe win a game or 2.
I'll be honest, on this call-in show, we can go a lot of different directions. I did not see us breaking down Grove City High School football for next year. I didn't have that on my bingo card.
Scotty, we got to be ready for everything.
You're right.
We got to be ready. I hope the Dogs go win a state championship, quite frankly, because I remember the heyday of Grove City football in the early to late 90s. Such good times. Ralph, you are next on the Fan Call-In Show. Good morning, Ralph.
Hey, good morning, guys. I'm representing Warren Local High School down in southeastern Ohio, right outside of Marietta.
Send it in, Jerome!
I have 2 heroes that I wanted to talk about. When I was a kid, I'm an older guy, and when I was a kid, I loved the 1968 National Championship Buckeyes, their quarterback, Rex Kern, who led them to the Rose Bowl victory over O.J. Simpson and the USC Trojans for the national championship. And then in basketball, I was always Kelvin Ramsey when I was out playing hoops. That was my guy.
Thank you so much for the call, Ralph. 2 good ones there. There's some people that still believe Rex Kern might be the best Buckeye quarterback of all time.
Yeah, that's a great call. Thank you for taking us down memory lane, Ralph. Again, a reason why we're doing this is Eddie George, now the head coach at Bowling Green. Really cool story. Let's go back out to the phone lines and talk to Marcus. Marcus, welcome to the Fan Collins Show.
Hey, thanks for taking my call.
You got a school you're representing, Marcus?
Lima Senior High School.
If you want to crown them, then crown them.
Go ahead, Marcus. What do you got for us?
Hey, so Greg Simpson is my first cousin, but Xavier is our cousin. Not
Okay.
His son plays. Greg's son plays for Southern Utah right now.
Okay. I knew there was some kind of relation there. Wasn't sure if it was exactly so. He's a cousin.
Yes, but I did enjoy Xavier and Lima Senior playing in the state championship against the Wesson brothers.
I was there. I was sitting courtside for that. Thank you for the call, Marcus. And that was a fun time. I actually remember Xavier playing his first 2 years at Lima Central Catholic and some of the battles they had with Cleveland, Villa Angela, St. Joseph. Carlton Bragg was on that Villa Angela St. Joseph team and went on to have a career at Kansas. Des Watson played for Lima Central Catholic with Xavier Simpson, and he went to Eastern Kentucky, I believe, to play basketball. He was a smooth basketball player. If he had a little more size to him, he probably would have been a big-time D1 recruit. I remember those games. Those were some fun times. And Xavier Simpson, you could tell he was some smaller, but you could tell he had some dog in him.
I'll tell you what, this last couple hours on the money and then the Fan Collins Show has really kind of helped me this morning because, gosh, I was in the dumps yesterday after that loss to Indiana. It was one of those frustrating ones where the Buckeyes were leading throughout the entire game, looked good, and then blew it in the end. It's kind of been the story of the year, unfortunately, for Ohio State hoops, where they were in control a lot of times throughout the year, and they blew games in the end. You're thinking back to the Oregon game. You're thinking back to the home game against Indiana, the Pitt game. And sadly, a lot of these games were home games where Ohio State was in control most of the way, blew it at the end. And that's a big reason why this Ohio State basketball team is on the bubble. And Ryan, 1 week from today is Selection Sunday. We're going to be sweating out that bubble.
Are we going to see the Buckeyes name pop up or not? I'm not sure.
I think the only way it happens is Ohio State has to win 2 games in the Big Ten tournament.
Thank you guys to all of you that called in today. This wouldn't be a thing without you. It is your show, the Fan Call-In Show. Real quick, before we go, good luck to Upper Arlington Hockey as they take on St. Ignatius at 1 today over at Nationwide for the state championship. Thanks to everybody that called in. Fun time with you guys today. For Scotty Vegas, I'm Ryan Baker. This has been the Fan Call-In Show on The Fan.
Matty Ice has a large tattoo on his calf of LeBron eating a lion. I have nothing else to say. Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays from noon to 3.
The Fan.
Home values in Columbus are sky high, and you have a ton of equity. Your financial advisor thinks the market has peaked. So if you're thinking about selling, it's time. Except for 2 things. High interest rates will burn you on a new home loan, and you're not ready to move. Savvy financial advisors suggest Truehold's new Sell and Stay program. It's ingenious because they buy your home now while its value is high, but you can stay in your home as long as you want with an easy, affordable lease. Smart, right? Truehold will make you a solid cash offer, not a lowball offer like the others. It's based on your home's current value. The cash is yours to travel, pay off bills, or secure your retirement. And again, you can stay in your home with a comfortable lease. Truehold covers property taxes, insurance, and maintenance. See how much Truehold will pay for your home today. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out your home's value without moving. That's Truehold.com.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for mouth-watering meals and appetizing ingredients. Our low prices add up to big savings, plus over $600 in digital coupons each week, and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. At Kroger, you always get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Right now, 80% lean ground beef is on sale. 3-pound packages are only $3.99 a pound with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
For a limited time at Verizon, you can get our best price ever for a single line. Just $45 per month when you bring your phone, which is less than you spend on Too Tired to Cook takeout every week. Get one line on Unlimited Welcome for $45 per month with autopay plus taxes and fees. Visit your local Columbus Verizon store by April 2nd to save. $20 monthly promo credits applied over 36 months with a new line on Unlimited Welcome. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G and 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds. Additional terms apply.
Welcome to AT&T. How can I help?
Hey, I thought I could trust my twins with my phone, but they outnumber me, man.
Whoa, that's a lot of glitter paint.
Let's trade lives.
At AT&T, everyone can trade in an old or glittered iPhone any year, any condition, and save on a new iPhone. Ask how to get iPhone 16 Pro on us. New and existing customers. Savings vary by device and trade-in combinations. Restrictions apply. See att.com/iPhone for details. AT&T. Connecting changes everything.
Why pay more for prescriptions? Stop overpaying and start saving with SingleCare. It's easy. Find your prescription on singlecare.com, show the coupon at the pharmacy, and start saving. SingleCare works at pharmacies nationwide and is completely free to use, whether you have insurance or not. So the next time you fill a prescription, check SingleCare to make sure you're getting the best price. Take control of your prescription costs. Go to singlecare.com or download the free app